What happens when survival becomes entertainment? Season 3 of that global sensation just dropped, and it's darker, smarter, and more intense than ever. But does it live up to the hype, or is it just milking the brand? Let's decode it.
Welcome back to Film Decoded, where we break down stories, not just watch them. Today's spotlight is on Season 3 of the globally impactful survival drama, the one with high-stakes games, twisted morals, and deep psychological tension. But Season 3 isn't just more of the same. It evolves, it expands, and it dares to go where the previous seasons didn't. In this breakdown, we'll go deep into its themes, characters, structure, direction, and even what it means culturally.
One of the strongest aspects this season is character progression. The main returning character shows a clear evolution. He's not the same man who entered the games years ago. He's more driven, but also more conflicted. We're introduced to new players, each representing different slices of society. A tech worker disillusioned by AI, a mother fleeing an unjust system, and even a former champion from a previous game, now trapped again. What stands out is the diversity of moral codes. Some fight to win, others fight to change the game. A few simply want to be remembered. And perhaps the biggest mind-bender? We begin to see players manipulate the system itself, flipping power dynamics we thought were unbreakable. Visually, Season 3 pushes the boundaries of storytelling through imagery in a way that feels both bold and deliberate. Instead of simply relying on shocking aesthetics like the bright, candy-colored sets we've come to expect, this season weaponizes its visuals to serve deeper psychological meaning. The vibrant colors aren't just cool to look at anymore. They're manipulative. They're designed to create emotional confusion in both the viewer and the characters. Take the geometric environments, for example. Sharp angles, perfectly measured lines, symmetry. At first glance, they suggest control, order, and safety, but they actually represent oppression masked as structure. The symmetry becomes suffocating. The more perfect the environment, the more disturbing it feels. And then there's contrast. Every time the show gives you a beautifully lit, pastel-toned game room, it cuts to a darker, decaying world, rusted hallways, flickering lights, shadow-filled corners. This duality creates a constant visual tension, as if beauty is hiding something sinister underneath. Even the camera work follows this philosophy. High angles are used to make players look small, powerless, almost like chess pieces on a board. Long tracking shots trap you in the scene, forcing you to feel the same anxiety the characters do. And still frames are used intentionally to make you pause and process, not just watch. Then comes sound, or rather the absence of it. There's a pivotal scene where silence takes over. No dialogue, no music, just ambient noise, breath, movement, footsteps, tension. The visual composition in that moment becomes the only storyteller, and it works. It speaks louder than any line of dialogue ever could. It's direction at its finest, minimal, controlled, and devastating. Colors also carry meaning here. Green often marks familiarity and desperation. Red signals power and surveillance, while white seems neutral but is usually the mask of something cold and calculated. These color choices aren't random. They're carefully placed to communicate unspoken emotions and hint at hidden threats. In short, the production design in Season 3 transforms the screen into a psychological battleground. It's not just what the characters are going through, it's how the world around them silently reflects and sometimes manipulates their choices. This is storytelling through architecture, lighting, symmetry, silence, and color, and it's masterfully done. Visually, this season is a masterpiece. The sets are still surreal and symbolic, but now they feel more grounded in reality, which somehow makes the horror worse. The colors, framing, and sound design all serve the psychological tension. Every frame feels like it's trying to tell you something, even when nothing is being said. The pacing in Season 3 deliberately moves away from the chaotic rhythm of the previous seasons. It adopts what many call a slow burn narrative style, not because it lacks tension, but because it builds it differently. Instead of relying on constant twists or jumping rapidly from one game to another, the show allows itself to breathe. We're given space, as viewers, to sit with characters in silence, to witness their thoughts before they act,
and to understand their internal conflicts without the need for action-driven exposition. There are entire segments where nothing physically happens, yet the emotional gravity is intense. A glance between characters can reveal more than an entire scene of dialogue. Moments like these, filled with stillness, hesitation, and psychological weight, are where the show truly excels. A major strength is how the flashbacks are handled. Rather than being forced or overly dramatic, they are woven seamlessly into the present. They emerge when they're most needed, not just to fill in blanks, but to redefine how we perceive a character in real time. These aren't origin stories for the sake of it. They're emotional anchors. They answer unspoken questions. Why is this person afraid of silence? Why did they hesitate before trusting someone? One particularly haunting aspect of the pacing is how isolation and time are used to exhaust both player and viewer. The more time the show spends in a quiet room, the more we feel trapped. That's not a pacing flaw, it's a psychological tool. And then the finale. This is where audience reactions may split. Some viewers will walk away feeling frustrated, not because it's poorly written, but because it doesn't deliver easy answers. The ending is ambiguous, leaving major plot lines unresolved and major characters at crossroads. But others will recognize that this is not an oversight. It's a choice. It's a setup, a provocation, an invitation to question not just what happened, but what could still happen. There's a poetic rhythm to the structure of the entire season. Each episode feels like a stanza in a larger poem, sometimes sharp, sometimes soft, sometimes wordless, but always deliberate. By the end, you're not just watching a story unfold, you're participating in a mental unraveling. Season 3 doesn't just tell a story, it orchestrates an emotional experience, and the pacing is its most underrated instrument.
Strengths? Pacing, character depth, visual storytelling, and a finale that dares to challenge the audience. Weaknesses? Some characters feel underused. A few plot threads might feel too open-ended for fans who want closure, but maybe that's the point. The game never really ends.
Structure and message. It doesn't aim to simply go bigger in terms of spectacle, it aims to go deeper in its exploration of control, resistance, and the psychology of obedience. If we were to define the seasons in thematic arcs, Season 1 was about survival at any cost, exposing how individuals break down when pushed to the edge. Season 2 revealed the architecture of oppression, letting us peek behind the curtain at the system itself. But Season 3, it's about fighting back. Not with fists or weapons, but through strategy, ideology, and moral defiance. It introduces the concept of resistance within the system, not just rebelling from outside, but corrupting it from within. We see characters begin to question the game, manipulate it. If you've seen the season, drop your theories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for deeper dives like this. Until next time, stay sharp, and remember, not every game is worth playing.